little bit of momentum so you can have some, so your halftime speech is not so, so animated. You want to be able to build on something.
54-33, 54-34 now as Harahone buries 2 free throws. Final 45 seconds of the half, Knights down 20. Now to Keeley. Work it around to Gomez, back to Keeley between the rings. Bounce it to Clark. Played by Johnson. 19 on the shot clock. Now 17, difference of about 13 shot in game. Gamblin, foul line, kick out, 3-point basket, left wing, Keeley, no, off the rim, played by Sean Gaines. Long outlet pass after Gaines got his second rebound. To Thomas for a 3. Rolls off the rim, no. Oregon Tech board, 12 seconds remaining. Here's Clark across the timeline. Knights don't want to give a bucket here. Clark with it, gets rid of it. Keeley, 3 seconds, down baseline with 2 seconds remaining. An attempt by Sentman is overshot, and our halftime score is not pretty. Knights, after trailing the most of 22 points, trail by 20 at halftime. 54-34, Oregon Tech at the break. Halftime is rolling up next on Warner Pacific Knights Web Radio and Cascade Conference Television.
Night Talk is the show just for Knights fans. Now heard live Wednesday evenings at 7 here on the new Knights 24/7. Jeremy Scott sits down with players, coaches, and special guests. Plus, your calls. Go behind the scenes of Knights athletics and the Cascade Collegiate Conference with news, highlights, previews, and much more. Talk Warner Pacific College athletics on Night Talk. Wednesday evenings at 7 on Knights 24/7.
Ever wonder what college life is really like? Well, it's not too late to find out. Set your future in motion today and find out why U.S. News & World Report ranks Warner Pacific College one of the best colleges in the West. Located in the heart of Portland, at Warner Pacific, you will experience the opportunities that only a Christ-centered urban campus can provide. With 27 undergraduate majors, from communications to urban studies, healthcare administration to Christian ministries, Warner Pacific will help you find a career path that fits you. Warner Pacific's close-knit staff, faculty, and students have a heart for service to the city and the world. Schedule a visit today, and you will soon discover why Warner Pacific College is one of the best values around. It's not too late to visit us online at warnerpacific.edu. Warner Pacific College, a new possibility changes everything.
If you're in business, these economic times can really make you pause and think. But what about positioning for the future? That's right. Even recessions have opportunities. Take hiring. Today, it's an employer's market and the talent is through the roof. But how do you find them? Well, smart businesses use iMatch Skills. It's the best online recruiting tool out there, and there's no charge. iMatch Skills has saved thousands of employers time and money. So prepare for the future and go to imatchskills.org or call 877-517-JOBS for assistance from your WorkSource Center.
It's halftime. We're looking back on the first half and taking a trip around the Cascade Collegiate Conference. Here is Jeremy Scott on Warner Pacific Knights Web Radio.
I just spoke with Mike Gerard, who's the broadcaster for Oregon Tech Radio. Told me he believes the best half of basketball they have played all season long. And I would probably agree with him, although I haven't watched all the Oregon Tech games. When you shoot 69% from the field and 69% from the three-point line, I would say that's an excellent half of basketball. Knights led in the first half by Biniam Tadell, who scored the first 9 points of the ball game for the Knights. Warner Pacific had a 2-0 lead. We were tied at 2. We were tied at 4, and again at 6 as Ben strapped the team on his back with all 6 at that point. Oregon Tech had their first lead at the 16:24 mark on a David Clark 3, 1 of 5 in the first half. Biniam Tadell, though, scoring 9 of the Knights' 11, put them up or within a point on a 3-point attempt with 15:38 remaining. It was an 18-15 Oregon Tech lead as we headed to timeout with 11:01 remaining. Tech quickly ballooned it, scoring 17 of the next 20 points to build a 17-point lead. It was 16 at 37-21 when we headed to timeout, called by Warner Pacific head coach Jared Valentine with 6:21 remaining. Knights mounted a run, at least 6-0. Gaines with an and one opportunity at the 4:52 mark but he missed the free throw. Still, it brought the Knights within 10 at 37-27. When you look at that statistic, Knights outscored 17-7 the final stretch, thanks to a 5-point play just inside of 2 minutes by Oregon Tech. That put them up 52-32, and their largest advantage was 22 points in that first half. James Broadus, things did not work, I would say, on most ends of the basketball for Warner Pacific in those first 20 minutes.
Yeah, no doubt. It did not work. Defensively, again, you have your scheme, but I think Oregon Tech had been preparing for this. Since they lost, you can tell that there is a focus on coming back, being ready for this 2-3 zone that the Knights play. And so they have been prepared. Their offense is clicking. Guys are hitting three-point shots. And if you're shooting the way they're shooting, no matter what you run, it looks good.
David Clark leading OIT with 16 points. Knights led by the 14 of Ben Tiddell, who was 4 of 6 from the field and 5 of 6 from the line. Had an assist and a steal along with a rebound. Knights with 6 from Sean Gaines, 3 of 5 shooting, a pair of rebounds as well. 4 points for Will Sharp. He went 2 of 5 from the field, had a rebound and a steal, did Will. 3 points for Dane Johnson, 1 of 2 from the field and a 3-point basket. Had 4 first-half assists and a rebound as well. 2 points for Diego Harahone. Doug Thomas went 0 of 4 from the field but hit 2 free throws. Harahone with 2 boards, Thomas with 1, and an assist. Most rebounds came from Stephen Harris with 3, and most assists from Dane Johnson with 4. Wow, we're getting Krispy Kreme donuts here at the broadcast row. Never going to turn those down. So free advertising for Krispy Kreme. You munch on that, James. You tell me how it is. As I continue on with the stats here, Oregon Tech led by the 16 points of David Clark, 5 of 5 from the 3-point line. Had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. 12 points for Jason Gamblin, who was a perfect 4 of 4 from the field and the free throw line. 8 points apiece for Kyle Gomez and Bobby Hunter. 4 for Brian Sentman and Josh Johnson. 2 for Scotty Riddle. Most assists came from Gomez and Hunter, and from for rebounds, Hunter and Keeley with 3 rebounds apiece. Knights in the first half only shoot 41%, up to the 69% of Oregon Tech, and a blistering 69% from the 3-point line at 9 of 13. Knights just 2 of 9 for 22%. Free throws 5 of 8 for Oregon Tech at 62%. Knights 10 of 13 for 77%. Rebounding battle taken by Oregon Tech in the first half, 16-12. 5-4 Knights on the offensive end. 4 Knights turnovers, that really not the issue tonight. 5 turnovers for Oregon Tech, each team with 2 points off of turnovers. Kind of makes sense what's happening right now as the Knights, a very, very short chat inside the locker room, and they disbanded out onto the court. And now a team huddle in the middle of the lane for Warner Pacific, led by senior Biniam Tiddell as he rallies the troops. James, how was that donut?
Oh, that donut was great. That donut was awesome. I keep looking at yours, and if you keep sitting it there, you might come up missing.
Well, we're going to have to take a break, and I'm going to have to slide that in. It's a halftime advantage for Oregon Tech that is not pretty whatsoever. 54-34, number 1 Oregon Tech with the lead. Halftime show rolls on Warner Pacific Knights Web Radio and Cascade Conference Television.
WPCKnights.com is your one-stop shop for everything in Warner Pacific College athletics. Follow our teams on the courts, fields, and fairways. Learn about players and coaches. We have schedules, game recaps, bios, and special features. You can also listen and watch Knights games on our website. Plus, follow athletics real-time on Facebook and Twitter. You'll find everything Warner Pacific at WPCKnights.com.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
Welcome to Couples Counseling. I see you're a motorcycle.
Hi.
And, you're a car.
Hello.
Okay, so how long have you been seeing each other?
That's just it. She's not seeing me.
I don't understand.
I feel completely invisible around her. When we're out on the road, it's like she looks right through me.
And how does that make you feel?
It kills me.
Oh, stop exaggerating.
No, seriously. When cars don't see motorcycles, that can kill me. Especially at your size.
Excuse me?
Okay. I want you both to take a deep breath and start sharing more.
Oh, you mean sharing our feelings.
No, I mean sharing the road.
Okay. And I'll try and stay out of your blind spots.
And I'll keep my eye out for you.
Cars and motorcycles living in harmony. Ah. Now, about my bill.
Uh-oh. We're out of here.
Wait for me!
Don't forget to share the road. It's the way to go. A message from the Oregon Department of Transportation.
The halftime show continues on Warner Pacific Nights Web Radio.
And halftime score 54-34, Oregon Tech by 20. Top 10 matchup between the Knights and the Owls tonight from Portland. I'm Jeremy Scott with you. I want to give you an update on Jeremy Jones, the Knights junior from Gresham, the transfer from Alaska Anchorage College, the local product out of Sam Barlow High School, who suffered what appeared to be a season-ending injury in the second game of the season at Montana Western's tournament. It was an elbow, and we knew that from the start. Talked to him last night before warm-ups and said that he's able to bend the arm, which is something that he just started to be able to do in probably the past few days or maybe a week. He's out there warming up with the team. Jones, with 2 games, technically could qualify to become a gray shirt because he's only played 2 games, but Jones really wants to get out there. He hopes to make a comeback, he says, for Nationals. That's a 4-month absence in the season from the end of November until into the month of March. So if Jeremy Jones does come back, he will surrender about 20 games because of the fact that he will have only played 2, and then whatever the Knights play in Nationals, if he's able to make the comeback then, or will Jeremy Jones play a complete junior season next year? Remains to be determined, but his elbow is healing. He is doing better and can bend it, and does plan to make a comeback. Around the Cascade Collegiate Conference with the scoreboard first, Southern Oregon leads Concordia across town in Northeast Portland at halftime by 13, 42-29. Eastern Oregon hosting Evergreen State. And the score we have there is Eastern Oregon 44, Evergreen 26, just under 2 minutes before halftime. And a final score as Northwest beats College of Idaho 68-53 in Caldwell. So Northwest, with their 11th victory in conference, trying to make sure that if Oregon Tech does defeat the Knights, that they can leapfrog Warner Pacific in the standings with those 11 wins now. College of Idaho drops to 3-10 on the season. Around the conference, coming into the matchup tonight, Warner Pacific was alone in first place, followed by Northwest and Oregon Tech at 10-2, tied for second place, but now Northwest technically in first place now at 11-2. But we've got to wait for the second half to be played to see what happens between the Knights and Owls. Southern Oregon at 7-5 in fourth place after the Knights handed them a loss last night. Eastern Oregon right around the middle of the pack in fifth place at 6-6. Corbin moved ahead of Concordia moved ahead of Corbin in the standings by a half game at 5-6. Corbin 5-7 in the 7th spot, while Northwest Christian and College of Idaho were tied for the 9th spot. Northwest Christian in 8th, and now College of Idaho alone in 9th after their 10th defeat in conference play. Evergreen State in last place at 0-12. And your Red Lion Player of the Week in the Cascade Conference, no surprise, was Kevin West after he put up the points he did against Warner Pacific in the overtime game last Saturday night over at Cavalier Gymnasium. Top 25 rankings as it stands involving Cascade Conference teams. As mentioned, Oregon Tech is number 1 in the nation. And that's up from 2 they were the week previous. Knights don't move at all, and remain at 8th. Northwest from the 12th spot up to the 11th spot in the nation. That's it for halftime. Second half next. Oregon Tech 54, Knights 34. Can they turn things around? Find out next on Warner Pacific Knights Web Radio and Cascade Conference Television.
There are more ways than ever to advertise your business, product, or service to Knights fans thanks to Knights 24/7. Invest in the growing fan base of college athletics and get your message out through unique advertising opportunities. Join the team and partner with Warner Pacific College Athletics today. Advertise with Knights 24/7. Email broadcast@warnerpacific.edu. Together we can be a winning team. Go Knights!
My name is Jamali Bashirs, and this is how I live United. Education has been so important in my life, but lots of kids in my community don't have the same opportunities. I'm an advocate and fundraiser for my local United Way. I help promote academic achievement and give kids a reason to stay in school. We also put together events to raise funds and bring our message to the kids that need to hear it most. My name is Jamali Bashirs. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The second half is just around the corner. Now more halftime on Warner Pacific Knights Web Radio.
Second half underway. Warner Pacific down 20 to number 1 Oregon Tech. We switch ends of the court, and Oregon Tech works from your left to your right. Hunter bounce it down inside to Sentman. Now back out on top. A three-point basket is attempted by Gomez. No good. Interesting to note, Sentman starts the second half for Oregon Tech, not Scotty Riddle, because he has 3 personal fouls. Fouls come up empty. First try, second half. Now the Knights get one. Here's Will Sharp over on the right wing. Looks inside for Tadell. Well covered, though. Sharp gets it back from Harris, still on the right wing. Now in the lane comes to Gaines, looking down low for Biniam Tadell. And Biniam kind of frustrated that Sean couldn't get him the basketball.
Yeah, well, what's happening is the guys around the perimeter are sagging back. They're not really worried about the Knights hitting the three-point shot, so they're able to sag back and allow help on the post players.
Here's David Clark for Oregon Tech with those team-leading 16 points and 5 first-half threes. Deflection out front. Dane Johnson comes up with a loose ball. Will take it all the way to the rim. Come back to Will Sharp for a layup.
And that's what I'm looking for, Dane Johnson to be the spark. As the point guard of the basketball team, you have to be the spark sometimes and see if you can get something going. Doesn't always have to be scoring, but it has to be something.
Oregon Tech calls a quick 30-second timeout. Not sure why. It was only a bucket that the Knights added. But an 18-point advantage, and Danny Miles wanting to talk about something.
Yeah, he doesn't want to let this crowd get back into it, this standing room crowd only. He doesn't want the Knights to pick up any momentum early in this second half. So he calls the quick timeout to make sure his team stays focused. You know, this is a big crowd. It's a standing room only. You know, we got Greg Oden in the gym once again watching his good friend Dane Johnson play, but you can't even really see the game. The guys in front of him have been standing the whole time. I don't even know if he knows there's a basketball game.
I'm not sure Greg has a problem seeing things, though, because he's so freaking tall. Off the inbound, Oregon Tech basketball. Hunter with it. Picks up the dribble on the right wing. Now gives it to Gomez. Back to Hunter. Bounce it to Gamblin on the right elbow. Now to Clark. Knights up on him this time. Around it goes to Hunter, right wing, 2 seconds as the Owl faithful starts to yell out how much is left on the shot clock. Offensive foul on Bobby Hunter for Oregon Tech, sends it back the way of the Knights.
Big defensive possession. Okay, now here's an opportunity for you to score, cut into this lead. You have to just keep chopping the lead down. When you're down by this much, just keep chopping at it. Keep chopping at it. You can't get them all back in one play. So let's see if we can convert here in this second half.
2 minutes gone. Dane Johnson working against Gamblin, lobs it down low for Gaines. Triple teamed, and they say a foul. I think Oregon Tech fans probably wanting a shuffle of the feet, but instead the foul whistled on Kyle Gomez for Oregon Tech, his first personal foul. So an inbound coming for the Knights. Dane Johnson brings it in play to Will Sharp. Now Sharp at the top of the lane, directing traffic. Inside to Ben Tadell. Stripped on the baseline. And a whistle towards Warner Pacific, but no foul whistled, as I think Jared Valentine was pleading for there.
Yeah, and that was a quick move by Tadell. Again, getting the ball on the block, doing a quick move, not allowing the double team to come. He got a good opportunity to go up, but he head faked, gave time for the defense to reset, and now they're taking the ball out of bounds.
Perspiration wiped up, and Dane Johnson to inbound right of the bucket. In play to Stephen Harris out front. Harris get rid of it to Sharp. Sharp directs traffic. 20 on the shot clock. Now a screen out front by Gaines. Into the corner. Harris pass up a look at 3. Keeps his dribble alive. Now on the left wing, here is Johnson. Through the lane, kick out. Now Tadell on the right wing. Dial up. A 3-point basket. Shot King for Ben. Yeah. That's a big one, and the Knights needed it.
Nice penetrating kick by Dane Johnson. Tadell, the hot man, you got to find him. You got to ride the hot man until he cools down.
With 17, and the Knights within 15 at 54-39. Gamblin right elbow, bounce it on the block to Setman. Played by Gaines. Look it inside for Gamblin, get it to him. Now a shuffle through to Gomez, missed the lay-in. Rebound tip baseline. Knights gave it to OIT, but then Gaines tipped it back. OIT comes out of the pack with it, and a 40-footer, no kidding, from Clark rims out. He was feeling it there, but the rim said no thank you.
Big possession right here.
Oregon Tech has not scored in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Harris through the lane, drive, score it, and he's fouled off the backboard. Count it. Stephen Harris, Mr. Workhorse, showing what he does best. You were calling for him to get active.
Yes,
there he is.
Yes, and there he is. And again, what a great time to do it. You know, this is a big test for the Warner Pacific Knights. I don't know in this 6-game winning streak that they've been down like this. Let's see how they respond. So far in the second half, they were responding exactly the way Coach Valentine would expect them to.
Doug Thomas back in for Warner Pacific, and it's Sean Gaines who will get a breather for Warner Pacific with 16:37 remaining. Stephen Harris at the line to complete the three-point play. Harris 77% on the season from the line. Nets it. 16:37 remaining. That three-point play by Harris brings the Knights within 12. Knights have scored 8 unanswered to start this second half. Oregon Tech basketball. Clark with it between the rings. Gets rid of it. Hunter, three-point basket, no. Whistle, and 2 shots coming for the Owls as a foul whistled on Stephen Harris.
Yeah, and Bobby Hunter, again, I think he may have sold that, but smart basketball players understand the situation, and when teams are scrambling to get back in it, you can do a lot of a head fake and get guys off the ground because they are trying to do anything they can to prevent you from scoring, and a lot of times they think that means blocking shots. I think Bobby Hunter knew that, drew this foul on Stephen Harris.
Foul shot no good, and that the third personal foul on Warner Pacific. Stephen Harris is he will sit, and Sean Gaines back into the action. Here's the foul shot up by Hunter as he makes 1 out of 2. First points of the second half come from the foul line for the Owls, and it's a Bobby Hunter free throw that makes the score 55-42, Oregon Tech.
Bobby Hunter has a funny-looking release. It's not what you would call typical release, but it was effective.
Here's Will Sharp driving through the lane, got sent to the floor on the lay-in attempt, and he'll step up to the line to shoot foul shots after being hacked by David Clark of Oregon Tech. 4th team foul on the Owls here this second half. Will Sharp steps to the line, drains the shot, shows why he's 80% accurate from the line on the season. This one would bring the Knights within 11. Rolled out. Boy, that was about half down, and it popped out of the cylinder. Knights, though, active on the defensive end as Doug Thomas steps in front of a pass on the Oregon Tech end of the floor and interrupts the shot clock with 31 seconds.
Good hustle. And again, in this type of situation, you cannot not get back. And that's what Dougie Fresh did. Got back, and now they have to run their offense.
Corpening back in for Oregon Tech. First time in the second half. Johnson as well. A three by Clark. Over the backboard and out of bounds. Well, James, this just proves that basketball is a game of runs. Oregon Tech so hot to end the half. Haven't been able to hit anything here this second half. Knights come up missing on a three-point attempt by Bowie. Sailed off the rim. Rebound by Doug Thomas. And the putback draws a foul.
Well, we talked about it in the first half. You know, there's no way that the Owls can continue shooting like they did. The law of nature says that they have to slow down. And let's see if the Knights can take advantage of this.
Knight basketball. Dougie Fresh. Thomas a three. Cha-ching! Thomas nailed it in a 9-point game, 55-46. Knights mounting a comeback. They've been down as much as 22 points.
And this is why Coach Miles called that timeout early in the second half. He did not want this crowd to get involved.
Well, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Bobby Hunter backs it out against Sharp. Now top of the lane, Gomez to Clark through the lane. Fans wanting the shuffle of the feet. No. Johnson rebound sent Gaines to the floor. I think fans wanted an offensive foul there as well. Not going to get either on that end of the floor, except a Sean Gaines personal foul, his third.
Yeah, Gaines tried to draw the foul. He tried to draw the offensive charge, but the referee didn't go for it. I think he would have did better by just standing there with his hands up and just contesting the shot. He had it in his mind to try to draw that charge, and you know, that's always a 50-50 call, and this time it didn't go their way.
So Josh Johnson to step to the line and shoot foul shots for Oregon Tech. The first one to leave his hands, and it's up and in. Back in Zerbach for Oregon Tech. Jordan Keeley as well. Knights sit Gaines. Bring back in Stephen Harris despite those three personal fouls. Second shot for Johnson. Back to 11, the Oregon Tech lead. And ref makes sure that the perspiration that's out on the floor is wiped up before the play can move on.
Yeah, and with this type of atmosphere, with this many people in the building, I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of perspiration on the floor. There's people sitting everywhere. I mean, it can't really be fire code safe.
Don't tell the fire marshal, James.
No, I won't.
Here's Harris driving from the right wing inside. There's the lay-in that brings the Knights back within 9 once again. Knights have outscored Oregon Tech in the half, 14-3, and a steal and a finish by Will Sharp, and the run has been mounted. It's 57-50 as a turnover. Oregon Tech, their 8th, Knights their 5th steal, and then a foul on the Oregon Tech trip up the floor.
Yeah. And William Sharp does what he does best, gets his hand in the passing lane, gets the steal, get the easy basket. And again, when you're trying to mount a comeback, you have to get easy baskets because you use so much energy trying to come back that it really helps when you can get the easy baskets and not have to expend so much energy. And there's that perspiration sleeper.
How things getting a workout tonight. Dane Johnson back into the lineup for Warner Pacific. And it's Will Sharp who gets rest off the Oregon Tech inbound. Here they come. Keeley out of backcourt. Played by Trevon Bowie, joined by Johnson, Tidell, Thomas, and Harris. That's the 5 on the floor for Warner Pacific. In the corner, Zerbach with it. Get rid of it to Hunter. 19 on the Oregon Tech shot clock. Hunter picks up his dribble. Now bounces it just inside the arc to Corpening. Over baseline, far corner, Johnson. Fights through traffic, but lost it. Trying to find Korpening, threw it ahead. Johnson had a steam, then he lost it from behind as the Owls took it right back. Hunter through the lane, a floater, an air ball. Wave everything off. An Oregon Tech foul on the possession. That one's whistled on Korpening. As Sharp returns for Trevon Bowie. Scotty Riddle, David Clark, Kyle Gomez, and Gamblin all back in, joining Bobby Hunter. So the original 5 starters back on the floor for Oregon Tech. Knights with 4 out of their 5 starters. Through the lane, Thomas takes it all the way, left it a little short. Offensive rebound, Ben Tennell, and he keeps it in the Warner Pacific end. Ben's 3rd rebound tonight. Now underneath, here comes Harris, tipped out of bounds by the Owls with 27 on the shot clock and 13:30 for regulation. Yeah. All of a sudden, James, you look at the scoreboard, it's a ball game.
It's back to a ball game. You know, I think that first half was more of a fluke than anything else as far as the way they were shooting.
Back down the defense, score it, and he's fouled. Stephen, Mr. Workhorse Harris, and 1.
There goes that man again, Stephen Harris.
Harris, another 3-point play. He had one just 3 minutes ago.
And now everybody on the Knights are communicating. Everybody is talking. They're figuring out their matchups. These are the things that you must do if you want to come back from 20 points down.
3-point play is converted, and all of a sudden a 4-point game. Harris's second 3-point play the old-fashioned way here of this second half. 57-53, it's a ball game. Gomez, top of the lane. Over to Clark on the right side. Back to Gomez. Pass inside, Gamblin through traffic off the knees of Doug Thomas, it looked like, and out of bounds.
Doug Thomas playing great midline help, side defense, got himself in the right position, and this could not come up with that steal. But there's 19 seconds left in the shot clock.
Mintadell sits right off the inbound. Oregon Tech with their first field goal. There it is right there of the second half. Their first field goal of the second half, and it took about 7 minutes.
And I know you were looking at your stats and trying to get things together in order, but David Clark threw the ball off the back of a Warner Pacific Knight player, stepped in and made the layup.
Phenomenal. Knights come up empty on their end of the floor. 12:40 remaining, Tech basketball. 6-point advantage for the Owls. Hunter, give it to Clark, now in the far corner to Riddle. Back out on top, the guards, Gomez and Clark play with it. Now Gomez bounce inside, tip from Clark's grasp, out to Gomez for a 3. Rebound tip by Gamblin, baseline, got it to Gomez, but his shot rolled off the rim. Kyle Gomez at 6'2", 190, showing that he can play big down low.
Yeah, I think right now the Knights, I don't know if you can afford to rest Tadale and Gaines at the same time. As you can see, as soon as they've gone out, the Owls have been able to score inside. Now they get offensive rebounds. Those two guys have been big down low. You might need at least one of them on the court at all times.
First foul shot up and good by Gomez. That makes it 60-53. Second one rims out, rebound tipped. Harris controls for Warner Pacific. Harris's 5th board. Now Sharp in the front court for the Knights. Dane Johnson on top, give it to Harris. Now to Harahone right of the lane. Back into the hands of Dane Johnson. Lob it inside, Harris had everybody beat, then help came over to cover for the Owls, and that's where the foul is whistled on Scotty Riddle.
Well, Stephen Harris is a beast here in the second half. I think that first half he had to get himself together. You know, like you said, he wasn't feeling so well. He had a great game last night, but adversity sometimes brings out the best in a player. And as you can see, that 20-point lead has brought out the best in Stephen Harris, and he is playing some phenomenal basketball early in this second half.
Harahone back in for the Knights, and Brian Sentman for Oregon Tech. Stephen Harris to step to the line where he is 3 of 4 on the evening. That one off the front rim, no. 60-53. with 12 minutes now remaining. Across the half-court line. Clark, give it to Hunter. Hunter now to Gomez. Gomez back to Hunter, right wing, now in the corner. A fading three as he crashed into the rooting section for the Owls.